All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Infinite Gold podcast. We are here today with my co-host husband, Anthony Goldner, and a very special guest, someone special to me, my dentist that has been my dentist for probably like my whole life. This is Dr. Radfar. Welcome to the show. He has been a dentist in the dentistry industry for 23 years, 15 years in the field of sleep apnea. He also owns his own business at Rad Health, health products for sleep, cleaning supplies for teeth, night guards, and all the works. They even have a couple of NFL teams that are cleaning their mouthpieces with his product. That's pretty friggin' cool. Welcome, Dr. Radfar.
Thanks for having me on. And, I've been your dentist for your whole entire life. I'm not that old. I mean, geez.
Oh, well, I'm not that old either, but you still look as young as the day that you took over, Dr.
You-
Shannon's.
you're doing a great job so far. I like you as a host.
Thank you.
In this journey together of like being your dentist for almost 21 years now, and also your
Yeah.
family and now your hubby. It's been great to see your guys' growth, and thanks for having me on. I really want to dive into a lot of sleep, how to help your listeners sleep better, how to assess their sleep, and of course, our big passion is personal development and all the fun things that make us smile at the end of the night and wake up with gratitude, right? So I'm ready to dive in with you all.
Yes, 100%. Let's do it.
So the first question I had, and obviously you already alluded to it, was we were going into the sleep side of things. And for me, it's a very big thing because, working nights and then training during the day and then having our business, I'm kind of like all over the place. So what's one of the biggest downfalls that you see with people when they're not able to get the right amount of sleep, or let's just say the quality of sleep? Because obviously I know quantity is one thing, but quality is more important than actual quantity.
Yeah, for you that you do more of a graveyard shift kind of thing, you're losing your circadian rhythm. In the morning today, when I woke up at 5 a.m., I went out for a little brisk walk and I try to get some sunlight in my eyes. That's one of the
Mhm.
tips that I always recommend. About 15 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes of sun in your eyes. That increases your natural melatonin production so that by the time nighttime happens, 12 to 14 hours later, you're
Mhm.
able to fall asleep a little easier. So unfortunately, your cycle gets a little switched, and
Yeah.
that's why it's really important to like have blackout curtains when you're trying to fall asleep or stay asleep, and then artificial light when you wake up, to really bright light when you wake up to make sure you get that circadian rhythm. Even if it's a fake one, so that
Yeah.
you can sleep well and get that quality of sleep, because a natural production of melatonin does allow for that.
Gotcha. And then what's like your biggest tool for entrepreneurs? Because we have a lot of entrepreneurs on our that are listening that when they're trying to go to sleep at, that 8, 9 o'clock, so that way they can get up at 5 o'clock and their mind is just going crazy. They're like, well, I got this to do, and then I want to do this, and then if I do this, and then I got this. How do we slow that down?
Let me talk a little about myself here.
Yeah, let's go for
I'm not just a dentist.
it.
I got a bunch of products and a brand, and I teach other dentists on how to treat sleep apnea and snoring with a mouthpiece. My journey began back in 2009. I fell asleep at the wheel. I crashed my car going about 35, 40 miles an hour into a tree, not knowing I had sleep apnea. I was having those issues, tired throughout the day, trying to
Oh
grow
my
my
God.
dental practice. I got tested with a home sleep study, which is now what I do for my patients. And boom, I have mild sleep apnea. They gave me that mask to wear called the CPAP machine. And everyone here who's listening knows how sexy those CPAP machines are. I mean,
Super
imagine
sexy.
putting it on, right after you're intimate, be like, good night, baby. And, or if you're single and you're dating someone and you put that on and they're looking at you like, wow, well, what's going on there? Well, it
Coming from
helps
that
me,
man.
to prevent me from snoring and having maybe a heart attack in the middle of the night or falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
But it isn't as nice as putting a mouthpiece in, and majority
Mhm.
of patients can wear that mouthpiece. So I was patient zero at my practice, and I started getting better quality sleep. And as you mentioned earlier, it's not just about the number of hours; it's the quality, meaning you're actually
Mhm.
breathing oxygen that you can get into the REM and deep sleep that can be monitored typically by an Aura ring or a wristwatch that has that kind of Fitbit mentality, right? So that's the first thing is we got to make sure you're sleeping well, no matter what hours of the night or day you're sleeping. And that can be done through a home sleep study. Now, going back to the entrepreneurship, my product line, Rad Health Inc., I started that during COVID because my sleep patients would walk in and be like, yeah, my mouthpiece is great. My wife loves you. I'm not snoring. And I've heard that a lot, by the way, Anthony. My wife loves you, which is a really weird thing to hear
Weird.
every
Yeah,
day.
that's weird.
I've got a lot of wives out there that love me, which is a very, very cute thing to hear, and
Yeah,
husbands.
of
Um,
course.
and but they're like, I can't shut my mind off. I
Yeah.
got my mind racing because of COVID. So I'm taking Tylenol PM, Advil PM, Xanax, Ambien, half a bottle of wine, Benadryl. And as we
Oh,
all know, all
Benadryl.
these
Shit.
Benadryl, yeah.
I was on that one. I was
Yeah,
on that
there you
one for
go.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
it knocks you out, but it doesn't allow you to have
Yeah.
great deep sleep. And so you
Nope.
wake up a little more groggy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also it's liver and kidney toxic, these
Yep.
medications and supplements that we take in excess. And so I dove into the supplement business. I was also having a little bit of trouble. I mean, you guys were coming in, I'm working in your mouth during COVID, and I'm like, there's saliva bubbles and everything's spraying up in the air. I don't know
Yeah.
where you've been, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, it's
I was
true.
more afraid of you all than you guys were afraid of me.
Yep.
And so, so like I dove into this, my mind was, I dove into the supplement business and created Radzz. Radzz was my first supplement. And it
Mhm.
came just out of the need that I saw my industry or my humans around me that needed it. And then, people were clenching and grinding their teeth a lot due to anxiety and stress. Again, during COVID, there you go. You guys are pointing at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone nowadays, especially if you're in your 30s and you're ramping up your life, you have like 2.2 kids, a dog,
Yeah, it's true.
and all that, right? And a career that you're going to clench and grind your teeth a little more. You're going to take that fight or flight response, or your mind is going to continuously kind of race. And so I created Radjaw, which is a supplement for the jaw that helps alleviate the tightness of the muscles using magnesium glycinate and fish oil and
Nice.
some other things like chondroitin sulfate and glucosamine to help with the popping, clicking, and the cartilage. And so these kinds of ideas came about based on need, and it really just takes the courage to get out of your fear mindset. When we talk about David Hawkins' energy scale, we talk about how you live in fear. Your limiting beliefs are pushing you in this fear of
Yep.
failure. And what if it doesn't work? What if I lose money? Well, you have to have that courage and certainty that there's a need for your skill set,
Yes.
right? Or for
Mhm.
something you're providing. And when you get that courage, you're able to take those risks and take those ideas now and implement them and hopefully make a difference and make an impact. And so that's how my journey started in my product line. And I would tell you that to calm your mind, a lot of stuff that I've learned recently, guys, it's been the journaling and meditation techniques to
Yes.
get
Mhm.
the thoughts on paper, right? And
Yes.
kind of be like, okay, like today was really a crappy day because X, Y, and Z happened, but I also was able to like get up and
Yes.
walk and
Yes.
kiss my kids and help
That is
humans
so good.
and be able to have this home and my car and running water. Did you guys know
Mhm.
that around 850 million people in this world, it's about a ninth of the population, has no running water
It's
to brush their
crazy.
teeth,
Mhm.
Yeah.
to flush a toilet.
Yeah.
And
Wild.
The
we
little
forget
things.
that, right?
Mhm.
And so that mindset of journaling and gratitude at the end of the night, and also writing out what I need to do that tomorrow, as opposed to just like thinking it, that
Yes.
helped
Mhm.
me put my mind a little bit more at ease so that I can have a little bit better quality sleep just by those little techniques.
Yeah, he's speaking our
Oh,
language.
yeah, I love that. That's literally what I had to switch with myself was that journaling and that nighttime stuff, and then the part where you added in the appreciation and the gratitude, it makes a world of difference. Because, like you said, yeah, we're gonna have bad days. We're never gonna have just good days. So when you have that bad day, cool, acknowledge it, and then what actually went well that day too? What do you still have because of that day? it's been a great flip for me on relaxing from a hard day that I might have had.
The problem is, and I don't know, maybe you guys can help me on this as well. I've dove into Tony Robbins's events. I've been to
Mhm.
Dr. Jordan Peterson, Joe Dispenza, Peter Crone, the Kabbalah Center, all these Danny Morell, all these guys and some gals that, that I've been following and going to their retreats and events is the consistency. So we
Yes.
sit there at night, we look at our journal right next to us with a pen right there,
Mhm.
and we kind of go, kind of lazy to do it right now. Is it
Yeah,
Yes.
really
in there.
working? Right? Does it really work?
Mhm.
And it's almost like saying, oh, well, there's the gym. I see some weights, and
Where
I'm
people
thinking
hide.
about how it's going to make me healthy and make me look good and attract people and get strong and support my muscles and my mind and all that. But I'm gonna go, right? Eventually, we want to go, right? We
Mhm.
go to the gym, and you guys are in great shape, and we go to the gym, and we do 3 days a week, maybe, right? We
Mhm.
push it. We do three,
Yep.
maybe 4 days a week, and we're like so happy we did that. And after 4 days in a week of doing that, we feel somewhat better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't look ripped. We
Yeah.
haven't lost 12 to 15 pounds,
Nope.
but we've maybe gotten a half a pound
Mhm.
down. Maybe
Yeah.
we've gotten some veins popping for the guys and some, toneness for the gals. And that is just from 4 days,
Yep.
right? And
Mhm.
then we slack off for another 4 or 5 days and we lose it all.
Yep.
Right?
There it goes.
And it's the same concept in journaling and in meditation. It's like, does it really work? Well, if you do it 4 to 5 times a week and you're doing it for 3 to 4 months, man, the
Mhm.
synchronicities and the breadcrumbs that get thrown at you, to be able to have everything that you've ever wanted tipping the scale. That doesn't
Yeah.
still mean you're not going to get the negatives, right?
Nope.
But it tips the scale,
Yep.
and the universe keeps telling you, hey, you're doing, and then you're addicted. Then
Oh, yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're in, right? And you're a believer because you see the flex, you see
Mhm.
the weight loss mentally, emotionally,
Yeah.
and I think that's the key is pushing yourself, having that inner conversation, that inner dialogue, like, man, I haven't done it in 2 nights because it really doesn't work. It makes me, I'm like fooling myself maybe, and I don't know, and that inner dialogue needs to stop. You gotta
Yeah.
like just be like, you know what? That's just again my limiting belief,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
story we tell ourselves, and we need to stop thinking that way and push ourselves to hit the gym mentally and take the
Yes.
Mhm.
5, 10, 15 minutes to listen to a YouTube for, you don't even have to do anything, just listen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, sit there and actually take the time to write 5 to 10 things that you're having such a hard time
Yeah.
having gratitude for night after night.
Which there's so much stuff around us to literally you could pick thousands of things that'll last you a long time on what you can be gratitude for or have gratitude for. I
Yeah.
love that concept because literally just I think it was on Instagram maybe yesterday or the day before. David Meltzer posted it and he talked about that exact concept where basically you do something one day, all right, x to the 1, you do something the next day, x to the 2, you do something the next day, x to the 3, and then you skip that day. Well, it doesn't just stay at x to the 3, you're now x to the 0, you just went all the way back. So at the end of the month, I love how you put it. At the end of the month, if you went to the gym, let's just say 16 times, or you journaled 16 times, well, those other 14 times, 15 times wiped everything out. You literally have done absolutely nothing for that month. That's why at the end of the month, you look and feel the exact same way you did at the beginning of the month, even though you think, oh, but I journaled 16 times or I went to the gym. Well, what did you do those other days? It didn't help. So I love that concept that you brought in.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the inconsistency that broke it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's better to do something, but you have to start
Mhm.
believing in the consistency. You have to literally, even if it's for 5 minutes, you think
Mhm.
it's not that much. It's better to
Yeah.
go for a 5 minute walk than sit on
Mhm.
your couch, right?
True.
And
Yes.
it's crazy when you look at animals. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen these videos on YouTube or whatnot, that you see these animals being born, right? Like a
Mhm.
horse being born.
Yeah.
Right? And what happens to this animal? It comes out and it like
False.
stumbles a little bit, and within minutes they start walking,
Yep.
right?
Uh-huh.
How long did it take your kid to walk?
Shoot.
15
Lainey wa
months?
Yeah, Lainey was
Yeah.
a little quicker. She might have been like 12, but Jackson, yeah, he was
Yeah.
almost 18 when he was
Yeah,
full on walking,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So it takes a human even though we're the most advanced species on this
Mhm.
planet, it takes us so long to walk,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
then talk,
Mhm.
then emotional regulation by the time you're in at least 7 or 8 to even understand what an emotion is.
Yep.
Yet we expect a retreat, meditation sessions to have this epiphany of this abundance and love and
Oh my
finances
gosh.
to fall on our plate. It's like,
It's so
where do
true.
you get that? How
Yeah,
are you going to be rich going and clocking in on Monday at work from 9 to 5? No, it
that
takes.
would be nice. I'm not gonna
That would
lie.
be nice, right? It takes even the ones who make this idea like Facebook or an idea that makes you billions of dollars. It took years to develop something
Yep.
like that,
Yeah.
and 12 to 14 hours a day of
Mhm.
developing your business and your product. You spend 12 to 14 hours a day understanding mindset, meditation,
Mm.
all that. Man, you literally, you'd walk on water. You'd probably
Yep.
touch somebody
Yeah.
and they would you come into my office, I just touch your tooth and it would heal.
Healed. Yep. It's so true. I mean, if you look at all big businesses that everybody are like, "Oh, I wanna be the next Apple. I wanna be the next Google. I wanna be the next Amazon." Well, Amazon didn't make a single dollar for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
We talked about it the other day. Disney went through 300 no's before he even became a amusement park, and then he didn't make any money for the longest time. It's like, you gotta change our mindset, like you said. We gotta change our limiting beliefs that something's just gonna happen overnight. It's not going to.
Oh.
You have to put in the work.
Yep.
That's what you talk about all the time. Put in the work.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's also just makes you feel better. I
It
always end
does.
Yeah.
my right. I always end my talks that the reason why we do this work of mindset, energy check, awareness, compassion, instead of leading with guilt and anger and jealousy and anxiety and rage, is so we ourselves can just have a little bit more peace
Mhm.
in our world, just a little more calm, little less anxiety. And so at the end of the day, when we're falling asleep, which is we're entering that unknown,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
when we take our last breath, we're more at peace. There's the
Mhm.
concept of rest and peace. I believe rest and peace should happen every night, being a sleep dentist.
Right?
Yes.
I
Right?
agree.
And
Yes.
to do that, it requires throughout your day, not just that journaling at the end of the night or a meditation for focusing on your breath for 5 minutes, which
Mhm.
is the most hardest thing to do, is just
Mhm.
focus on inhalation,
Yeah.
exhalation for 5 minutes when you have 17 things a minute. Oh, my back itches. Oh, my kid. Oh, my email. Oh, I didn't do this. Oh, did I close the fridge all the way? I'll go back to my breath, right?
It's
All the
so
things
true.
All those things.
that we're doing, and that just shows to you even more that we need to do even more of that, right? And
Mhm.
Yeah.
sometimes I sprinkle during the day. At lunchtime, I'll just sit there for 5 minutes and I'll just do my breathing so I can have that peace, not
Mm.
just when I'm resting at night
Yeah.
or resting at the end of the life, the journey that we have here on this
Mhm.
planet, but actually even throughout the day. And honestly, man, I tell you, dentists have the highest suicide rate, top three of any profession,
It's crazy.
I
What?
get it, but I also don't get it because it's
Mhm.
like I'm a happy-go-lucky dude, and
Yeah.
it's not because it's not because I'm anything different. I've had the struggle,
Mhm.
I've escaped my country when I was 6 years old. I don't play victim to the struggles
Mhm.
to come to this country and all the stuff that we all go through our childhood traumas, buzzword,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
that we've
Yep.
all experienced, at the end of the day, this is the type of work, the dispensa meditations, the breathing meditations
Mhm.
that you learn through the Buddha, which is just focusing on your breath. And these are the types of things. Prayer, if you're into religion,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a meditation.
Mhm.
And that's a way of keeping your peace.
Wow. And it's because you choose to better your life, better your health, and choose to see and do good. Whereas other people are like, no, poor me, poor me. I came from this. I have no opportunity. There's no opportunities for me to become this successful. Like, that's impossible. Well, that's because they've got a shit mindset. They've got limiting beliefs.
Yeah, and you know, Anthony, when you walked into the operatory the first time I met you, right?
Mhm.
How did we how did we hit it off? Like, did I come, "Hello, night, welcome to the office. How can I help you today?" You know,
No,
you'd be like, what was the energy like for you?
the energy was up. I mean, I walked in with energy, you matched my energy, and that's how you connect with people. That's how you bring energy into a place that maybe, like you said, maybe there's not normally energy. And that's what the flip was for me, is because normally you just go to the dentist, it's like, okay, well, for starters, I don't even want to go. Number two, I think when I went to you, I probably hadn't even gone, to be honest, for like a year and a half, because I hate going to the dentist. It's like the doctors. We don't like going.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you walk into that place and you already have that mindset going in, and then they match that mindset, well, it's a loss right there.
Yep.
But if you bring up the energy, it forces me to bring up the energy, and it's more of a livelihood in a place where it's not normally, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and negativity is contagious, but so is positivity.
Yeah.
And you know, it's I'll be honest with you, man. When I get 30 people in coming in every day, the energy could be it fills my cup, to be honest with you. When I
Yeah.
come in and I go, "Hey, what's up, man? How are you? How are the kids?
Hmm.
How's work? Are you getting enough sleep?" You know, and you're like, "Yeah, man, it's because it's almost like it's a conversation, right?" And
Yeah.
we can do
Yeah.
this with our colleagues, with our coworkers, even
Hmm.
Mm.
the coworker that you hate the most. Hate is a strong word, but let's say you can't get along well.
Hmm.
You know, I learned this technique in one of my leadership courses. Rapid fire multiple questions to the person that you're somewhat not connected to without
Hmm.
answering or trying to mirror or do anything. Just rapid fire for at
Yeah.
least 2 minutes. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family? Fine. Oh, good. You know, have you guys been planning on any trips? Just follow up after follow up. You'll
Hmm.
notice whether it's someone you like or don't like, all of a sudden their energy, they open up more. Their
Yes.
Mhm.
walls come down. They show that they see that you're interested in them. You're not trying to be about yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing a
Hmm.
little bit more of a listen. Everyone wants to be heard,
Hmm.
seen,
Yep.
Yep. It's
right?
true. Yeah.
And I don't care how strong you are, how wealthy you are, how independent you are. You want to be heard and you want to be seen. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, that's a great mindset to have when we go to work, when we come home and say, hey, babe, how was your day?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Follow up 15 more questions, and see the night you have with your partner that night.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, that's one of the things that we've been actually focusing on most recently, is at the dinner table. There's like there's no phones. We're talking to each other. Every now and again, we're trying to get Jackson involved. He's only 3.5, and there's Squirrel.
Doesn't want to eat
Yeah, there's
sometimes,
Squirrel.
or
So like we
where
ask him,
my
"Hey, buddy,
cars.
how was your day?" And he just stares, and then he's sometimes like, "Did you have a good day?" Yeah. Okay. So sometimes you
Yeah.
gotta preface how the questions to him, but it's cool to also see them realizing, like answering questions and kind of thinking, and then Lainey's in the back just eating all the food, and she just smiling, and she's like, I don't know what we're talking about, but this is
Uh-huh.
fun. But like, just that, like you said, it lightens the mood. It makes the night and everything just that much better by communicating like that.
Yeah, and I love that you guys do that. There's a lot of talk about as your kids get older, they're like, "Oh my God, he's totally like me," or "She's totally like me."
Yeah.
We have to realize that even though they're just like some when people are scrolling on your stuff and they don't like your stuff,
Hmm.
right, on Instagram, they're still paying attention to where
Oh
you're at and
yes.
what
Yeah.
you're doing. And
Right?
your
Hmm.
kids are doing the same thing. That's why between each other, it's so important to be like, when you ask each other, "So how was your day?" Be like, "Oh my God, I had the craziest day." All of
Yeah.
a sudden, you'll see your boy say the same thing when you ask him how was his day, because he wants to be like
Aw.
dad, right? And
Yep.
it's
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 Yeah.
true.
it's this mirroring that you don't know yet, that you're building these memories of them on how to respond. And
Yeah.
and it's important for us to be able to do that in front of our kids, to make sure that they see
Hmm.
the interactions between each other, or amongst, when you do it with your daughter or your son, and they'll pick up on that very, very easily.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
true.
The little sponges.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just them listening to what we say, but they're watching our every move.
Hmm.
Is there some stuff that Jackson does and I'm like, What? Where'd you learn that? Who taught? Wait, what? I'm dumbfounded sometimes, and I just get completely amazed to see like what he picks up on from him, from me,
Mhm.
from our other family members, or, when they're, babysitting them while, we're getting work done and stuff. And I'm like, what? Who are you?
I mean,
You guys are segmenting, and I see the stars and the hearts coming out of you. If there was like little bubbles of
right?
for our children, right? And
Oh,
and
yeah.
it brings me back to how sensitive it is for our kids when they're growing up, and the environment for them. And I remember a few months after my accident, my son, he's 16, almost 17 now, at the age of 2.5. He was a little shit, grumpy in the morning.
Uh-huh.
He was waking up kind of like not the most happy-go-lucky 2.5-year-old. He was a little aggressive sometimes at school, at preschool. And I noticed during his sleep, let's go back to, my favorite topic,
Yeah.
he was snoring a little bit.
Oh,
And
interesting.
sometimes getting like intermittent oxygen where he was like, doing that kind of thing. And that was a red flag
Hmm.
for me because kids should never snore. Tip
Yeah.
number one: if you're a younger than teenager, or even a teenager, snores, you got to go to a pediatric ENT. You got to have their tonsils and adenoids evaluated with a CT scan, and then eventually, when they're 5 to 12 years old, an orthodontist should look at their jaw to make sure it's not too narrow, or the lower jaw is
Mm.
not too retruded or further back, because that can make the tongue not able to sit in a place where they can breathe well. Because if the jaws are too narrow in width, when you look, the jaw is too not as wide,
Mhm.
the tongue can't go against the roof of the mouth. It'll fall back more, causing snoring and apnea. And in
Interesting.
a child that's growing, where we need to get deep sleep and REM, where growth hormone and testosterone and all
Mhm.
the regulations are happening, you can really affect and see ADHD symptoms, bedwetting,
Wow.
grinding of their teeth because they're struggling for air. They're in a fight
Mhm.
or flight response, more anxiety, and ultimately lower in growth spurt. So Dylan, at 2.5 years old, he was at the 30th percentile, and his sister, who's 20 months older, was at the 90th percentile in growth. So I knew
Wow.
something was up, right? The
Yeah.
red flag was there. We took him to a pediatric ENT, and she recommended surgery. Tonsils and adenoids were out of control. At that time, his jaw was too narrow, he's too young for us to do any appliances to expand the jaw or fix the lower jaw being so far back.
Mhm.
And so, man, literally different kid. It's like
Wow.
we traded him in for another one.
Yeah.
His energy, his mood, he went from 30th to
Wow.
70th percentile in 1 year in growth.
Wow.
And that's
Holy
the
smoke.
biggest, the passion that we have for our nieces, our nephews.
Mhm.
When they sleep over, we take care of them, or our own kids or grandkids. If any
Mhm.
of you are listening and you see snoring or you hear grinding of the teeth,
Interesting.
pediatric ENT, orthodontist for phase one, which is adolescent orthodontics for expanders, possibly to get that airway open.
That's very good to
Wow.
know. Now, question on that, because I don't think Jackson and Laney do it all the time, but they do it every now and again. Is there a difference where, like, if they've had like a long day and they're just overly exhausted and they're snoring, versus snoring every day type of thing?
Yeah, and even the mild, I call it on and off snoring, should still be evaluated by the
Okay.
pediatric ENT. You throw them in the pool. They went to Sky Zone jumping like crazy, and
Hmm.
they stayed up about an hour extra,
Yeah.
and ate a bunch of pizza and all that fun stuff. And they're like, "Oh, that sounds like dad."
It sounds like a great night.
You and I were out a little too late. We had a little too many pizzas and too
Yeah.
much apple juice or beer,
Apple
and
juice,
right,
exactly.
and then now we're passed out, and we're like,
Mhm.
it's for a child, they should never snore. I mean, I
Interesting.
have other
Okay.
kids that we've purposely try to tire out as much as possible, and they don't make a sound. And
Wow.
so even the
Okay.
mildest form, at least it should be evaluated.
Yeah.
You did your job, you looked at it. Pediatric ENTs are not surgery happy. They're not trigger happy to like have surgery all the time.
Mhm.
It's a very has to be a specific size and an obstruction that they
Okay.
know medically this is going to affect them, or they'll just
Hmm.
tell you, yeah, it's not going to be that affecting their growth because it's so mild. He
Mhm.
or she will grow out of it as they get a little older.
Hmm.
Is that something that, because I don't know how many kids you have in the office right now, but I know Jackson's due to come in for his first checkup. But is there, are there things that you notice when you go in and check them out? Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, it's, if we notice that there's grinding of the teeth, we're starting to see the baby teeth wear down a little faster. As I
Okay.
said, the lower jaw looks a little further back compared to the upper
Mm.
jaw. We call
Mm,
that retruded lower jaw. That's the tongue being further back. So
okay.
whenever I see these
Mm.
red flags, along with the jaw being a little narrow, so it's grinding of the teeth, narrow jaw compared to what the average is,
Mhm.
and the retruded jaw. I usually ask the parents, how well does Jackson sleep at night? And
Uh-huh.
oh yeah, he sleeps great. He snores like dad. Uh, Here's the pediatric ENT referral at 3 years old. See you next time.
Yeah.
That's the song and dance that I do
Mhm.
in my practice, and I teach other dentists on how to look for these kinds of red flags within the pediatric.
Solid. Well, I'm gonna have to have you take a look at Jackson because he does snore from time to time, and he does sleep with his mouth open like I
Yeah,
do.
and then
Not
that's the
not
other
all the
thing.
time.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, nasal breathing, as we know, mouth tape. It's great. It is tape. It is great. By the way, mouth taping is phenomenal.
Mhm.
It gives you deeper sleep. But if you have a deviated septum, if you have turbinates and adenoids that are inflamed, you'll feel like you're suffocating.
Yep.
I think you may want to put on your wife some mouth tape just for the fun of it, because or vice
Honestly,
versa.
it's
Your
probably
boy's
it's
your
probably
boy's a
vice
talker.
versa. Yeah.
He
Dude.
loves
And
to talk as well. So, put the mouth tape on at night and be like, ah, now I can rest in peace, right?
it's
Uh,
definitely vice versa. I mean, you'll be working on my teeth, and I'm still trying to talk to you,
yeah.
even though I can't. I'm like, "Hey, doc, what are you doing up there?"
Yeah, if I could put mouth tape and still work on you, I would do it.
That would
But
be
really,
perfect.
mouth taping is a great thing for adults,
Mm.
and even children. But if they can't breathe through their nose, because
Mm.
as you know, in meditation, yoga, and all these types of breathing techniques, we inhale mostly through our nose and exhale through our mouth. That inhalation through the nose causes a vibration of the cilia in the back of the nose, which is these fine hairs. That sends a signal to the hypothalamus to produce nitric oxide, and
Mm.
that relaxes you. It vasodilates or opens up your blood flow to the extremities. So it's a healing thing, and it also relaxes and lowers blood pressure. That's why you feel more rested when
Mhm.
you do those kinds of, or more relaxed when
Mm.
you do those types of breathing techniques. But again, adults too. You can't breathe through your nose. You got to go talk to a pediatric ENT to have them do a CT scan, and it sucks. You may need to get those turbinates cleaned out. They need to go in there and like they're in the back of your brain somewhere. But the alternative is you're going into dis-ease, which is
Mhm.
disease and
Yes.
Mhm.
inflammation, when we don't have these nitric oxide vasodilation kind of characteristics happening because we're mouth breathing so much.
Mm. I don't like that.
I know.
I don't like to I don't like to hear that.
And a lot of
I've
listeners
done
don't like to hear that.
I've done nose strips before, and that has helped, the brand, I think it's hostage strips that we've
Mhm.
gotten, and the nose strips work. I've tried the mouth tape before, and it was alright. I didn't love it, but I know there was at some point in the middle of the night, maybe early morning, I ended up ripping it off because I was like, "Screw this." I'm like, "I feel like I can't breathe now, and I wanna open my mouth." So, that and then maybe the adhesive was a little extra strong because I was just like, "Dude, I feel like I'm getting a wax job now, like a full wax around my lips." I'm like, "I could do that myself without the strip." But
Yeah, and,
yeah.
the adult version of sleep, how to look for it at night if you're having issues is if you're getting up to go to the restroom to go pee,
Mm,
that's an indication typically of a fight or flight response. It's when that kid gets excited and pees in his pants kind of thing.
Mhm.
So there's a tail sign there. If you look at your lower front teeth as an adult, and you see grinding patterns like they're starting to wear down, That's another
Probably.
indication. We talked about snoring, but if you don't have a bed partner and you don't know if you snore, there's apps now out there that can, one's called Snore Lab, LAB. It's a free app that you can download to record your snoring. It'll give you a snore score. If you have dry mouth a lot because you're a mouth breather, that's another indication to get a home sleep study and a regular ENT referral as an adult. Medical stuff like high blood pressure, acid reflux, arrhythmias, all these things can also be indications, and the result is could be from sleep apnea. The newest studies show cancer, a 5 times higher risk of cancer of any kind if you have sleep apnea and it's left
Crazy.
untreated. And it
Wow.
pisses me off when the oncologists don't do sleep studies for every single patient when we have this study, right? And or
Wow.
the gastro docs that are treating acid reflux with Nexium and Prilosec OTC or medications. Like 60%, it's estimated, of acid reflux patients is because of that
Yeah.
kind of deep breathing when you have an apneic event that pushes the diaphragm stomach up, the acid comes up, destroys that little esophageal sphincter, and then you get more reflux, right? And so
Wow.
unfortunately, when I speak to physicians, they say, well, I'm staying in my lane most of the time. I do GI, I do cancer, I do cardiology. But unless the patient says, yeah, I'm tired throughout the day, or any of these other, my bed partner says that, I, I gas or anything like that, they don't bring it up to their physicians. So it's really up to us. 90% of sleep apnea patients are undiagnosed. And so it
Wow.
takes some sort of, diagnosis of something else that usually is associated with it. So again, those tail signs that we talked about, especially if you have any gasping of air, you wake up, your heart's racing. That's not you having a bad dream. That's an apneic event.
Wow.
Hmm.
What?
What? I don't
I
Hopefully,
know.
this podcast will save some lives. When I
Yeah.
was on
I think
stage,
I think it's great.
yeah, I was talking to a group of over 350 doctors at the California Dental Association a few weeks ago. I did something different. I said, everyone break out your phone and I want you to Google sleep apnea life expectancy. And I said, what do you guys see? 1 year off your life if you're not treated? 6 months? 5 years? 10 years? And the overwhelming response, I had 5 people raise their hand, was 10 to 15 years off your life if you're not being treated for sleep apnea. And
Stop
and and
it.
and that's scary. When you look at those
10,
numbers,
10 years.
10
That's
years.
Wow.
So
that is
if I
insane.
have sleep apnea and you can give me 10 more years to my life by putting me through it, giving me a mouthpiece or a CPAP machine,
Wow.
how valuable is that
A
to your
lot.
life? Yeah,
A lot.
explain one other thing that you can do that can add 10 years to your life, let alone cancer 5 times higher risk, let alone better relationships, mindset, positive thinking.
Everything.
Everything.
Wow.
It's wild. Like the more I talk about it, is the 500th time that I've probably brought it up on a podcast. The more my energy level just goes like, whoa! Like there's so many things involved,
Yeah.
and sleep divorce is a thing, right? So Anthony, you snore. She sleeps in another room. That's
A
called
sleep
sleep
Ooh.
divorce.
divorce. That's
That's
hilarious.
interesting. And if you think about it, the way we are made and the way we are quote unquote bred, we are made and bred to be together.
Yeah.
So the more that we're separated, we're going down that road of separation. So like you
Yeah.
just said,
More
that
conflict.
makes so much sense. Like if you're starting to now sleep in separate rooms, you're no longer connected. Like you're breaking that connection, and that's gonna lead to worse things down the road. Now, yes, some people can go the rest of their marriage / lives that way, but it's not ideal. And the majority, my guess, is ends in divorce. I don't know any stats. That's just
Well,
that's my guess.
then like people probably like, oh yeah, no, we're good. He's been sleeping in the other room for X amount of years. Be like, does that mean you think that your marriage is still going good just because you're still together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let alone he's sleeping in the other room,
Yeah.
losing years off his life possibly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing. It's like, so what is the action plan? The action plan is get a home sleep study. If you
Mhm.
see you have sleep apnea, get an oral appliance or a CPAP machine. If it's weight related, hopefully that'll give you the extra push to, join a program, stay on top of it, go walking. I love walking after every meal, after everything I eat.
That's
I,
so
I go for
smart.
a walk. You just don't let it sit there. Even if it's pouring rain outside, like a madman, I'll just do like 50 laps around my kitchen island, or I'll just go
Yeah.
up and down the stairs, even though it sucks at 8 p.m., like 10 times. And I go, okay, I had
Good.
that steak, but at least I didn't sit on the couch right after,
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
and those things help so that you can, hopefully have a better night's sleep and a better quality of life.
So you've got all these tools in your office. Do you also do sleep apnea tests, or do you do stuff like that as well in your office? For
Yeah, so
example,
Yeah,
if
so
we have
like let's say
listeners.
you told me, "Hey doc, yeah, I'm not sleeping well." I actually have a home sleep testing company that'll send the home
Oh,
sleep test to you. I've done it remotely for patients. Patients have contacted me through social media or
yeah.
whatnot, and we do a teleconference, and then with medical insurance being billed and all that,
Hmm.
we have a home sleep test sent to the
Nice.
patient to you at
Perfect.
home. You put it on your hand. You wear it for a couple nights. You put it back in the box. You send it back.
Wait, it's just a
Um,
hand?
Super, yeah, it's on your hand. It's super easy. It's not this whole contraption for a home
Wow.
sleep study. Yeah, and a week later, I get the results signed off by a board certified sleep physician, and I call you, and I'd be like, "Hey, yeah, your wife's right. You're dying. Come on in." Or if
Yeah.
I've had patients from Mississippi, from New Mexico, from New York, all over the country, all over the state of California, and I'm now, because I've trained a few thousand dentists across the country on how to do the oral appliance, along with the network of MDs and
Yeah.
whatnot, I can direct you to someone local to you if I'm not local enough to get the treatment and ultimately to get the benefit of that more energy and just feeling good and having more energy for your kids and
Yes.
sleeping back in the bedroom with your partner, or sleeping with a new partner and not having that fear that they may
You have
hear
this
you,
machine and everything and snoring. Yeah. I love that. We're definitely gonna tag that, put that in the notes. And honestly, if we could jump on that, that would be awesome as well. Just
Yeah.
because I'd be interested with somebody.
Well, yes, I snore. You do it sometimes
I
too,
do.
but there
The grinding of
are
the teeth
the
is what I
grinding
do.
of the teeth.
Hmm.
I'm like, I can't just shake you because you wake up freaking out
Well,
and reach for your
that
piece.
that's that's
But
that's something else.
I'm
Sounds
like,
about
hey,
right.
yeah, I'm like doing one of these, and I'm like, hey, I was like, babe, you're grinding your teeth because I just
What?
hear him.
Huh?
He's like, I'm like, oh my
Usually,
god,
so
stop.
usually, that, and again, it could be sleep apnea, but usually those are from the rough days at work
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
and
what?
look, we carry it with us into our sleep,
yeah,
and no matter how much you journal, and no matter how much crisscross applesauce, you sit there and you're, doing this thing like that, like you're on top of a mountain. It's hard to turn down the cortisol, right? And
Yes.
yeah,
so, but it's better if you do that than nothing and you just try to fall asleep, right? So,
Right.
right.
and a lot of times, I have to help patients. At the minimum, put a night guard in there so you're not cracking your pearly whiteys. Or sometimes we do Botox in the masseter, the cheek muscle,
Interesting.
and the temporalis to soften the intensity that
Yeah.
lasts about 3 months. And
Wow.
and I have some people taking some sedatives, but as long as your airway's kept open, because if you take
Mhm.
Benadryl, melatonin, Xanax, any of these prescription
Mhm.
medications, or Tylenol PM, Advil PM, and you have apnea, you're gonna make your apnea worse.
Oof.
So because
Mm.
your mind is now shut off, and your jaw's falling back, your tongue's falling back, and you get into this apneatic state, and you
Ooh.
stay there
Yeah.
longer because this guy, your brain, isn't
It's
pushing you to jolt
mm,
you to kind of move and wake up. And
wow.
unless your wife or a bed partner is there to elbow you, punch in the face,
Yeah, right?
save your life,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
and you know what, guys? I thought of something really different. The person who snores next to a bed partner and wakes up their bed partner out of their REM and deep sleep, you're actually ultimately affecting the
Mhm.
health of a
Yep.
perfectly good sleeper
Mhm.
that has no apnea, let's say. And so that could be a big problem as
It
well.
could
And
be.
and and there
Yeah.
haven't been real
Yeah.
studies to show what the decreased life expectancy is of sleeping next to someone that snores so loud that they wake you up. But I
But there probably
guarantee
is.
you, it's something that can definitely affect their not only their mood but their overall health and the next day.
Definitely. So as we come to a close, we like to ask all of our guests this amazing question. So, based off of our talk today, or just life in general, what are the 3 golden nuggets you think our listeners should know?
Wow. So, the 3 golden nuggets that I live by is anytime I get triggered now, I pause for a minute and
We
I
had this
try
talk.
to figure out, I
Yes.
want to react. My ego kicks in. I want to answer. I want to stand up for myself. I want to tell you that you're wrong because
Yep.
you are wrong and crazy.
Because I'm
And
always right.
because I'm always right and I know better than you, but I pause and I go, why is this triggering me? Number one, why am I still being affected by this human being that says something that's making me feel something less about me?
That's so good.
That takes a few seconds right there, right?
Mhm.
B, what is this person telling me that it's maybe allowing the universe to prevent something worse for me?
Mm.
What is it protecting me from? And when
Oh.
I do that, I'm less reactive
Yeah.
towards the situation, whether it's a partner, a stranger. And some of you out listening be like, what happens if the guy's flipping me off and honking and it was his fault or her fault? Um, yeah, but that's still on you. It's your
Mhm.
reaction towards it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second thing is leading a lot more with, Anthony, you come in and you waited 30 minutes to see me, right?
Mhm.
Now you have a little bit of a, let's call it not a happy-go-lucky mood,
Okay.
right? So when I go in the operatory, I have to have compassion towards your mindset of maybe you're a little upset. And it
Oh.
could be not just because you were waiting for 30 minutes, it could be because you had a fight with your wife earlier, right? It could
Wow.
be because you just got fired.
Wow. Yeah.
So not taking things as personal and understanding the negative energy that you feel could be because of something that that person's been experiencing from previously. So having a
Mhm.
little bit more compassion. And the third thing, man, is when you look in the mirror, you put your makeup on, depending on who. Anthony, you may be putting your makeup on too, or or you're shaving your face, right?
I'm putting my mustache
Having a
on.
little bit more grace and compassion for yourself, having a
I
little bit
love that.
more kindness to yourself, because if you can't have that compassion and kindness for we are the most critical of ourselves.
Mhm.
It's going to be challenging to have that compassion and kindness for others and
Oh,
practicing it. Like, you're
that is
good enough,
good.
man.
Mhm.
You're strong enough. You provide enough. I know you can do better, but you're there. You're doing the best that you can. That kind of
Mm.
mindset will ultimately lead to having the same energy when somebody else comes into your life and you provide that kind of compassion and kindness.
Yes. I love that.
Those are
Tho
all
those
so
are 3
good.
great ones.
Yes.
We love doing that because literally I don't think we've ever gotten the same answers.
No, they've all been
So,
different.
they've all been different. They're great. Well, Dr. Radfar, we appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah,
We know
thank you.
you have so much more to offer, so we're definitely gonna have to have you on the show later on and talk more about everything else that you have going on in your life. You've got a lot going on. We appreciate you. Check out the listen notes. Everything's gonna be in there about Dr. Radfar, the sleep study, his dentistry. If you live in Ventura County, you got to check it out. That's where we go. It's where our kids are going to be going.
I
If you
trust this man with my teeth,
yeah,
with
with
my
my teeth,
life,
my mouth,
with
with
my teeth, with my
possibly
life.
life. Now, if we're gonna do
Yeah.
the sleep study,
No, quite
10,
honestly,
10
like, I
years,
don't know who I'm gonna go see when you retire.
we're gonna
And when
find
we
him. We're gonna go.
well,
We already talked about this before we got on. We're just gonna go find where he's at, and then his practice might be done, but we're gonna still go to him. And be like, hey, I know you can still clean teeth, so we're still gonna have you do it. By the way, I
Something.
know
As
you.
long as my body can move and my hands can move, we'll figure it out.
I
I'll
know
come
you're
to your place. We'll figure it out.
I know you're 80 years old, but we're still going to make this happen because he's going to live longer because of all the studies and everything.
Dr. Radfar is not allowed to age. He's
No.
not allowed to get old.
So, thanks
I
again for
appreciate
being
you
on.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on, providing the platform with your podcast. I've been
Yeah.
listening to it. You guys are doing great things.
Thank
Husband and wife,
you.
you guys are leading with by giving, and then
Yes.
that just means so much to me. So I appreciate you all for having me on today.
Thank you so
Yes,
much and have a
thank
great day.
you.
Bye, guys.